You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Projects management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Rudman Relight. The IFCO. Chiro Moguls. Chiro Health USA. Sherman College of Chiropractic. Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. This episode of Chiro Hustle is brought to you by Relight Hydration by Redmond. Here's the truth. Most Americans are walking around dehydrated, low energy, brain fog, muscle cramps, afternoon crashes, and many people think they just need more coffee, when they actually need more electrolytes. Because hydration isn't just about drinking more water, it's about the minerals. Your body relies on electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and trace minerals to help your cells actually absorb and use the water you drink. Without those minerals, water alone doesn't do the job. That's where Relight Hydration comes in. Relight is built around Rudman Real Salt, a natural, mineral-rich salt harvested from an ancient seabed in Utah. It provides the foundational sodium your body needs for proper hydration, along with balanced electrolytes to support energy, muscle function, and daily performance. No artificial dyes, no unnecessary fillers, just clean electrolytes built around real mineral salt. Because at Redmond, we believe the secret's in the salt. If you're new to Relight, start with their sample pack so you can try multiple flavors and find your favorite. Once hydration becomes part of your daily rhythm, you'll feel the difference. And chiropractors understand this well. The nervous system runs on electrical signals, and electrolytes help support that communication throughout the body. If you're tired of hitting the wall mid-afternoon, it might not be more caffeine you need. It might just be better hydration. Go to chirohustle.com and get 25% off of Relight with their exclusive promo. Hydrate smarter, move better, stay aligned.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 764 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and this is your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Shawn Powers. And if you want to hear our conversation about chiropractic identity and the future of this beautiful profession, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Shawn Powers on for her second time. If you guys want to go check out our first episode, it was episode 204. And this is episode 764. So there's been 560 episodes between the last interview and now. So I'm sure that's going to be the same conversation. I'm just kidding. But I want to touch on a few topics that we're going to discuss, and then I'll give you our big why, and then we'll kick into this episode. Is that cool, Shawn?
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you. It was good catching up with you in the green room before the show started. So the topics we're going to discuss are, why is the future of chiropractic so bright? And I think this is going to be a wheelhouse conversation for both of us to talk about. And why is chiropractic philosophy so vital to the success of the profession? And your identity, why does it matter? And then she's been a part of the League of Chiropractic Women for how long?
14 years, I think.
So we're going to talk about the League of Chiropractic Women a little bit too. But before we get into this episode, I want to let you know our big why over here at Chiro Hustle. Well, first things first is freedom of speech. We know what it's like to be traffic throttled and shadow banned and censored. We'd never do that to you. Anybody that's ever been on our show, we've aired their show. So it's pretty cool. We practice what we preach. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. We know that those are not the same things, but if you need guidance on those two topics, please reach out to a chiropractor in your area and get the guidance that you need for you and your family. Philosophically speaking, I know that's a big part of our talk today, but opening up, I have to let these things be known, because you might have a chiropractic student in your life that's not getting this at the college that they attend. So if you have a chiropractic student in your life, please share the show to them. If you have a young DC in your life, please share the show to them, because we do protect BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust. It's his last written words. If you don't know what that means, go to the show notes, click on Sacred Trust. Even if you've been practicing for 30 years, you're going to learn more about chiropractic by reading that than you did that you knew previously. I guarantee you. We also believe in subluxation. Subluxation-based chiropractic is very important to us. I know that not all agree to that, so it's kind of weird, but that's the lane that I live in. And we also believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and the educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And with that, this is episode 764. Shawn Powers, welcome.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here. And thank you for prefacing your purpose and your vision and what your beliefs are, because that's really important.
Well, I tell people a lot of times that if you don't even listen to our whole show and you just listen to the first 2 minutes, you're going to get the very most important part about why I do the work that I do.
Right. It's beautiful.
And you know, I could be like, you remember Teddy Ruxpin? That little bear that you pull a string on its back and it says the same thing over and over. Sometimes I feel like that.
Jen is the mother of skill, right? And it's sort of like every time you give a workshop, and you talk about the principles and the understanding, it also, you embody it more. It becomes you. And so I think professing is part of being professional.
Well, a lot of times when I speak from stage, these are my bullet points that I talk about. And that's why the philosophy rings through when people want me to come and speak to their group. They're like, well, what do you like to talk about? And I tell them I like to talk about the opener of our show. Yeah. And then I can send them a quick listen to it. And they're like, yeah, that's in alignment.
Yeah, because they understand then what your stance is. And that's important, right? It's like you are who you are.
Well, I didn't prepare you for this question, but it came to me and made me think about how to best open up today's conversation with you. But 560 episodes ago, what's changed for you?
Oh my gosh, so much. Number one, I'm more in love with chiropractic today than I was then. It's over the decades. I just love it more. I'm more committed to it. I'm like BJ. I will, serve it, sell it inside the law, outside the law, if it takes me 20 lifetimes to do it. So I'm now on my 40th lifetime in chiropractic. So I think what's really changed is that there's more vitalistic, philosophical chiropractors dedicated to speaking the truth. I think one of the biggest things we had was what was going on when you and I were on last time. It was 2020. And so I think what's changed for me is just that it's not so alone anymore in knowing what people need, being able to profess it, people wanting it more. That's from a professional standpoint. I've served clients for decades. I continue to serve them. I see more women deciding to enter and stay in practice and be coached, which is phenomenal. I've had some grandchildren. I've moved from California to Texas. My husband battled cancer and he's winning. He's actually getting a scan right now that I'm pretty sure will be all clear. So a lot has happened, but every moment it's been green and growing, been blessed and thankful, whether it's challenging or celebratory. I love it. I love my life.
That's cool. We were talking off camera and we were discussing life a little bit and, how life can change between the years and how we go from one place to the next place and how we keep learning and inspiring and the friendships that we build and how that has an impact on us. So, and I was just telling you, we've been doing this almost 8.5 years now. And I can't tell you how many people that I meet that were in chiropractic school and told me that they learned so much from about chiropractic from listening from our show.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the past 5 years, I've met so many young chiropractors that come up to me and say, "Hey, I've been listening to you my whole chiropractic career now."
Oh, nice.
But that's what it takes. It takes those repetitions and time, and you got to stay the course.
And I don't know if this is true for you, but what I know is that when you're out there like we are, and we're teaching and preaching and speaking and sharing, whether it's on podcasts or office stages or newsletters, whatever we're doing, social media, we never know who's being affected. Like BJ said, right? You never know how far reaching something you say, think, or do today. So the other day I got a message from somebody who was celebrating their 10th year in chiropractic. And they were in one of the classes that I taught at Life University with their mother, with no intention of ever becoming a chiropractor. But what I taught and how I inspired them on that day, they made that decision. And I never knew that. It was a young woman, young teenager left and made a decision and then reached out to me to say thank you for 10 years of family care and making a transformational impact on the health of her community. So I think, like you said, repetition, speaking to students, hopefully we're all students, right? I never stop learning or growing or becoming, because who I am today is obviously, hopefully not the same person that I'll be a year from now or a week from now, right? So thanks for saying it and being repetition in what's important.
Well, I saw this open air space, and I saw that no one else was like really committed. I saw one guy committed, and that's who taught me. His name's Ed Osborne.
Oh, yeah.
And I worked with Ed for many years.
Huh.
And I'm back in his coaching group again now. And but he always told me one thing that will stick true to me forever. Never give yourself a job that sucks.
Right. That's why we're so lucky. We get to do what we love. We love what we do. It's a calling. It's not a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Ed. I've been on his show many times, and I just haven't seen him around lately. So how cool is that he gave you that foundation?
Yeah, he taught me the podcast game.
Beautiful.
And he was my first mentor within this media world. And little did he know that I would go on and do what I'm doing with the consistency. Because,
I bet most coaches, they can see something greater for the person in front of them than that person themselves can even imagine. I bet he saw that for you.
Well, the thing is a lot of people during that 2020 era of our last interview, they thought it was going to be where they wanted to live is in my space. Everybody wanted to go virtual and be podcasters, and probably the people that still have a podcast is probably pretty lean. So it's a job. It is. It takes a lot of intention. It takes a lot of integrity, and it's a job, guys. So if you guys ever wanted to start a podcast, consider it as a job.
Right. It takes a lot of preparation too. And yeah, like you said, it's something, it's not for everybody, but as you learn, don't give yourself a job, give yourself a calling and something you love. Then it's not so hard. You have to effort for it, but it's not like arduously, overwhelming and frustrating and exhausting.
Can I tell you a couple of cool things?
I'd love to hear them.
I was talking to a friend of mine that wants to start a show. And he called me up and he's like, "Hey man, you're the most successful podcast right now." He's like, "I want to ask you some questions." I was like, "Cool." He's like, "So how do you edit your show? And how do you produce it? And where do you post it?" I said, "Tim, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that are probably going to blow your mind. I've never edited, or I've never produced, or I've never posted one show my entire career." I was like, I always hired a team around me to do the things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I would never do things that weren't in my zone of genius. So there's an identity thing for people out there is you can be the chiropractor, but you don't have to be the marketer. You don't have to be the front desk. You don't have to be the collections. You don't have to be. Do the thing that you're best at and stick to that.
And you know why that's so important? There's so few chiropractors in the world, and there's 8 billion people on the planet. So every time a chiropractor does something out of their zone of genius, which is to find, correct, analyze, correct, and adjust a subluxation, they are, number one, stealing a job from somebody else who's probably would love it more, is better at it. It's their zone of genius. And you're taking away from transforming humanity because you're busy doing something that somebody else could do. So I'm with you. Stay in your lane, stay in your zone of genius. Chiropractors do not do anything other than your communication, your education, your skill set of finding and analyzing and correcting subluxations, because we need you. The world needs you for that.
So yeah, the other thing I wanted to share with you is I was made aware of this probably 2 years ago now, but if you go to listennotes.com or FM maybe, you can check it out. It's global rankings, but somebody told me to go check this out once, and it gives you a rating of every podcast globally.
Wow.
And out of 3,300,000 podcasts, we're in the top 2.5%. So when you think about the impact of a chiropractic messenger telling the chiropractic story, it's back to the BJ quote that you quoted. You never know how far reaching. And, there's people out there that are actually getting real conversations about real chiropractic on the premise that we're proud of.
And like you said in the beginning, family health, right? If you don't know, speak to your chiropractor. And I think that's one of the greatest things that keeps happening in the world, that people are ready. They don't know always what we have is what they're looking for. But when we're able to connect with them and communicate and articulate, they're like, whoa, that is what's been missing in my life, right? So it's the best time ever to be a chiropractor.
If they knew how educated chiropractors are on the topics of discussion that we could talk about for hours on, the world would be ablaze coming to chiropractic offices, because they just think that chiropractors are segmented into the pain game. They think that chiropractors are segmented into headaches or car crashes. Right. Little do they know that chiropractors have nutritional backgrounds and rehab backgrounds and all the things that people probably go to see the other side of the medical profession for. They could get all of their questions answered and have hands-on experience with a practitioner that's chomping at the bit to help their community.
Well, and the other side of that is that we are the only profession that allows your brain to function better and for your overall health and well-being to adapt better. That's the biggest product we have. Nobody else is allowing the, fixing or correcting, finding the subluxation that removes the interference. Like, health is our natural given right. It is what we were made with, and there's just interferences. So when people understand that chiropractic is about your brain, who doesn't want to protect their brain? Who doesn't want their brain to function better? And that's the communication that will change your practice. If you're still talking about structure and spine, and all of that's important, but the impact, the research that shows the impact on the brain, you can't beat that, and nobody else has that. So it's like the best time ever, because we have more than ever, people are talking about neuroplasticity. They're talking about neuroadaptivity. They're talking about generative, right? And regenerative. And that's our specialty.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments, ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR, practice management simplified. The Chiro speaking company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Redmond Relight, the IFCO, Chiro Moguls, Chiro Health USA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. Hey docs, let me ask you something. Are you adjusting patients but not adjusting your revenue? Because a lot of chiropractors are still undercharging without even realizing it. They're accepting insurance allowances that are just too low, and they're hesitant to raise the fees because they're worried about pushback from patients. The problem is, when your fees and financial systems aren't aligned, it creates a slow leak in your practice. And when you try to grow, more marketing, more patients, maybe even another location, the leak gets bigger. There's actually a smarter way to handle this. Chiro Health USA helps chiropractors charge appropriately when insurance is available while still serving cash or limited benefit patients through a compliant discount medical plan. The results? Many practices see revenue increases around 15 to 20% without adding more visits. Same patients, better margins, more freedom. If you want to stop leaving money on the table and build a practice that's both profitable and compliant, check out chirohealthusa.com to learn more.
And they're talking about longevity and biohacking and all these different topics. So, and here's the thing, I launched a new show 5 weeks ago called Get Better Faster. And if you guys go to getbetterfasterpodcast.com, check it out. We're a top 150 show on Apple iTunes out of 31,000 shows that within 5 weeks. So we're doing something really special over there. We've only dropped 16 episodes so far, but we interviewed this guy today that's a natural oncologist. And the last question I got a chance to ask him was, so you're telling people to become fruitarians and to eat fruit, to eat real food. I was like, so if somebody gets a cancer diagnosis, what are your feelings about chiropractic? How do you believe chiropractic could be influenced into the care of the patients that you work with? And he gave me an answer, and he basically said, I think it's good that people get manipulated and it has an impact on them. I go, hold on, buddy.
Right.
I don't mean to stop you, but I go, within chiropractic lexicon, we call it an adjustment. So I was like, if you're going to go see a chiropractor, just know you're going in for an adjustment, not a manipulation. Okay. But he basically said that when somebody's nervous system is clear, they're going to heal naturally better and eat better, and that it's better for the cancer patient.
And it's so true. Like experts, like if you know, everybody knows who Huberman is, right? He's one of the top podcasters out there. And he found out about chiropractic on social media. Somebody posted a video or something, and he was having major issues. He was consulting surgeons. You know, he's a medical doctor and an educator at Northwestern University in Chicago. And he found out about chiropractic on social media. It changed his life. So to your point, whether it's an oncologist and you had him and you interviewed him and you educated him, you changed the lexicon because we're specific. Manipulation is like not specific. Adjusting is very specific. So good for you on that, and good for everybody who listens or talks in some way about the benefits of chiropractic in their practice through Power Partners, social media, coming on your podcast. It just is the way we can transform the world through speaking the truth.
Well, I think it's important if you're going to wrestle with somebody that they know the rules.
Right.
And, you know, somebody a long time ago told me if you wrestle a pig, you're going to get dirty.
Right.
And I haven't wrestled a pig.
I grew up in Chicago. My grandmother had a farm on Michigan, and across the field was a pig farm. So I have been in a pig pen, and I know how dirty you can get.
But also, if you allow people to play by their rules and you don't actually make corrections to the way that they say things and think, then you're at fault too.
Right. Well, that goes back to your identity, right? If I'm somebody who knows who I am, knows my beliefs, and I hold boundaries and I set rules and I keep boundaries in an elegant, considerate, heart-centered way, you can have difficult conversations and influence people, right? That's our ultimate superpower, is the ability to influence, like, obviously, because that's how you get people to transform.
Well, the other part of this was I'm pretty well known for telling people that there's no money in healthy people. That's why the medical system is doing what it does, because there's only money in sick people.
Right.
And I asked him, I go, so what would happen if we actually found that there was money in healthy people?
And?
It's just an eye opener. He's like, well, I think we'd have less cancers.
Right.
And there would be a different model of cut it out, drug it out, burn it out methods within the other system. And
it's the biggest money industry is cancer. It's an industry. Trust me.
And I asked him, like, why it wasn't more mainstream for people to get educated on natural solutions. And he's like, well, if anybody in the medical arena does this type of stuff and they talk about this stuff, they don't have jobs. He's like, so they have to go outside the lines and practice the way that I do.
But that's a limiting belief, isn't it? Is because I think we live now in a culture, and that's why I believe the future is so bright for chiropractic, is that you can either work within a system or create a new culture and create a new system, right? And so that whole idea of empowering people through knowledge, that's the difference between chiropractic and medicine, is, the fear-based, the dogmatic position. And that's why people run from sometimes that which would serve them better and support their health, because they only know one culture. And that's our job, to create a new culture and a new awareness, and to empower and support people so that they make the decisions that are right for them. Or, this is a real key thing, is we interrupt their patterns, we interrupt their belief system, and we help them really question if what they're doing and what they're thinking is truly the best thing for them. We don't have to tell them, but we put them in the position to understand things from a different light, that they make better decisions. That's the power of chiropractic.
Yeah, I think you're so right for so many reasons.
Yeah.
The people out there, I was also quoted this before: if people know what we know, they do what we do. And I think there's a lot of people out there that if they knew what chiropractic does, they would be so at least curious, like Huberman. They'd be at least curious to see if it might be a solution for them.
Right.
And then they might become advocates, and they might become referrers.
Right.
And I think that that's really where we're at today, is people are more curious. And I believe that the chiropractors are, I had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine. He's been practicing for like 30 years. And he's like, do you know the schools that are failing the most? And I go, no, tell me. He goes, the ones that are taking chiropractic out of the school's names. And I was like, well, isn't that all of them? And he goes, no, there's still a couple that have chiropractic in the name. But he said that the ones that have gone more medically based are the ones that are getting lower test scores and that are graduating chiropractors that don't understand philosophy and aren't great adjusters.
Right.
And I go, well, why are they producing chiropractors then? Because back to your identity thing, if we're not producing identity with application and knowledge, then what game are we playing? It sounds like a really poor game to play for somebody's education, and not to produce them into something that is actually viable and vital to their longevity in their career, and for the people that are curious about what you do and actually doing it the right way.
Well, and I think that's the key is stop comparing yourself to medicine, trying to be like medicine. We have the science, art, and philosophy that is unique to us. We have language that is unique to us. And it is something that people have no idea of its impact and implication. And that's where, again, that ability to communicate and influence people is, I think, the more our profession tries to be more like something that doesn't work, the harder it is. But the practices that boom, and listen, I've been doing this for decades and I coach all over the world. The practices that boom come from above down, inside out. They understand that what the human body does, what it's capable of, what's already right in it, and they educate and empower their people. So I think listen, I have 2 degrees. First, I have a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I was a critical care nurse. I have a doctorate in chiropractic, and I probably have buku other degrees over time of what I studied, but didn't formally get degreed, right? But it is my responsibility to learn, to implement, to apply, to be a constant and never-ending focus on becoming better and learning. It's not my school's responsibility. I think, and I know there's so many fighting in the profession about schools and boards and income and all of that. But what I would say to any young student is be a perpetual student, understand the philosophy, get around people who have it going on, who have that burning desire, that drive, and nothing will get in their way. Like I said, BJ said, I will sell chiropractic, serve chiropractic if it inside the law, outside the law, if it takes me 20 lifetimes to do it. And if you understand chiropractic philosophy, principle number 6 is there's no processes that does not take time. So I think what challenges us right now in our profession is that we use that as a focus to get better, to rise up, to rise above these arguments that do not serve. That's why we started the League of Chiropractic Women. So we could empower and support women to do what would be uniquely right for them and aligned for them in their life and their practice. That's why I'm such a successful coach, because I work with that piece of people, like the alignment, the understanding, the seasons of life, and what you're on fire for, how to generate that fire. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's a big part of this too. And that's what you're telling me is exactly why we do Hustle.
Mm.
So the other thing I'd mention is to anybody out there that wants to learn more about this profession is we have 730 published episodes.
Mm.
You could walk yourself around the world listening to our podcast and educating yourself with the science, philosophy, and art of chiropractic the right way.
Right. Like that's like a focus, right? Finite focus for improving who you are, who you're becoming, what you're offering, instead of scrolling, right? It's like, yes, I'm going to teach something on social media. You can listen to me. We're doing this on social media now, but how you take your focus, are you getting input that elevates you, that nurtures you, like your podcast, right? Or are you here listening to stuff that's noisy, distracting? It does not move you closer to who you want to be, what you want to become, and how you want to elevate chiropractic.
My first movie that I made called Chiropractic, the documentary, I released it in 2016. Can't believe it's like 10 years old.
Right?
I met this guy named Tim O'Shea. And Tim like imprinted a tattoo on my brain of saying something. He said, it's not the fact that we don't have access to information. It's the fact that we have too much access to too much information. And I think that that's kind of where we've compound affected over a decade. Now attention span with information, like it just doesn't have alignment. So people definitely have to get more strict with themselves and stop the connection so much and pay more attention to product and systems and knowledge that actually are fundamental and work. Because 10 years from when I met Tim O'Shea to when he told me that, he was telling me about the medical reference library and about when he got into the medical world, the volume was this thick. And he goes, the physician's desk reference manual that was in 2016, he said the thing was like this thick. And he's like, it's not the fact that that doctors don't know what they're doing. He goes that they just have too much information in front of them that they get lost in decision making. And my other coach, Larry Goodman, called it input asphasia. He said that people get so much inside of them that they just don't know how to build the identity.
Right. And that comes down to clarity, right? It's like that's what any good coach helps you with. Like you have multiple coaches or conversations like this is if I am clear on my purpose and I'm clear and I want to have a distinct path to getting and achieving what I want, then I make a decision about how I use my time. Time goes like this. You either invest it, you use it, or you waste it, right? And so it is a discipline and it's a willingness to choose how you invest your time. But if you're on purpose, right, then you know what to say no to and what to say yes to. As human beings, we can get distracted. That's why accountability partners or communities like this, or my own community or League of Chiropractic Women, it helps us stay kind of on the path. Even though maybe we chase the shiny object for a moment, we get right back, right? So again, I think you have to be very careful about who you listen to. What the norm is, I've never been normal. Never intend to be normal. Don't intend to be average either. So those stats and things you're saying, those are for normal and average people. The way we transform chiropractic is we're not like other people. We're chiropractic warriors, dedicated, committed, and we're above average. We're extraordinary, and there's no stopping us. That's how I feel about it.
I love that. All right, I'm going to ask you a random question. If you had a chance to sit down with one of four people, which one would you pick? Dee Palmer, BJ Palmer, Mabel Palmer, or Harvey Lillard? Who would you choose?
I would probably pick BJ and Mabel. And I would pick them because, Mabel was outside of the norm of the day. And BJ, because he took what his dad had, he fought against his dad. He knew he was clear and he really developed and he was willing to ride an elephant down Main Street. He was willing to be ostracized. I just would find it fascinating to just pick his brain, right? Like the books I'm looking up at my shelf, right? The books of That Special Something, those stories. I went to Palmer. So I've walked through that mansion and a little bit of heaven was still there when I was in school. And so, yeah, those would be the two.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Reggie Gold?
I did. And I actually wrote a chapter in the book. And I've spent many an argument and sushi and time with Reggie and Irene, right? Yeah, they are a foundation of, I've got books over there too. What Joe wrote and Reggie wrote, and the Triune of Life literally sat on my coffee table while I was going through chiropractic school.
Sid Williams, did you get a chance to meet him?
Yep, got to meet Sid, actually walked through BJ's house with Sid as my guide, got to have a picture with BJ's fedora on my head. He allowed me to put it on. Yeah, I went to many a DE. And Nell too. Look at her. Look at what she's accomplished through the world.
Well, I think it's really fun to walk down memory lane with you. Last question. Did you get a chance to meet Fred Barge?
I did, because I went to Palmer and he also spoke at DE, right? So have his books. I didn't know him quite as well as the others you mentioned, but yep. I've been in his presence.
So if there's a student watching this and they should read one chiropractic book, what should they read?
I haven't read Fred's in a while, the book about fear. Do you remember the title of it?
Yeah, Life Without Fear.
Without Fear. I think when we come, I haven't read it for a while, but that title just...
I read it last year.
Right. So I just think when we come from vision, we make our decisions from vision and purpose and the ideal to transform the world, that we have to learn how to live without fear. It might be there, but it does not control us. So I would say there's not one book, because who you are today will be different than you are tomorrow. Like, I have a lot of memories and we walk memory lane, but I make new memories every day. And I make new things hit me in a way today that they might not have hit me or resonated 10 years ago, like you said, right? So, yeah.
Who's the greatest mind in chiropractic today that people need to know about?
I couldn't pick one.
Give me two.
I can't say that there's only one or two. I think it's a collective of people who gather together with that intention. I think there are some couples, there are, people in schools, there's people in organizations, and then there's people in practices. Like, I've always run a philosophy session. I think there's just too many great minds that it affects the vibration of the world. To just say one person, I just don't think is fair. Like, how there's some host people say, who's the best chiropractor? Should I have as a speaker? I think everybody has value. And my story or my way will resonate differently with you than maybe somebody else, right? So
who inspired you today then?
Who inspired me today? Gosh, my clients. I'm telling you, I get on Zoom with them. I had one right before you, and somebody looked at their stats over the year and how many record days they had, how many record weeks they had, how much fun they're having, how strong their team is. This inspires me because they take what I tell them, they create their own thing, they do the work, they implement, and they're on purpose, right? That inspires me. And then
is there anything
beautiful weather inspires me.
Is there anything I didn't ask you today that you'd like to talk before you end today's interview?
I think it's your podcast. If you didn't ask it, it wasn't meant to be asked.
Well, I had a lot of fun with you today. Thanks for making time.
Thank you.
Shawn Powers, episode 764 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'll close out like I always do. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.
Everyone.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.